In this slideshow, we're going to discuss the theory of change. There are several definitions of the theory of change, and we're starting with a more complicated one, which states that it is a tool which aims to illustrate the pathways of change towards impact and outcome. And that's the important bit to remember. It draws on theory-based evaluations and can be applied in a situation where multiple variables and external factors influence an intervention's results, obscuring attribution. A simpler definition by Bond is about looking at how change happens and how we, through our organisation or programme, intend to work to influence these changes. Cathy James went on to look at how you could use a theory of change, and she suggests two approaches. The first is to focus on how projects expect to bring about change, building and strengthening the logic and coherence of the log frame. And/or it could be used to explore how change happens more broadly, and therefore could be used before developing the log frame. Here is an example of a theory of change. Now, it might be a little bit off-putting at the beginning, but let me try and show how it works. It looks at the change from activity through output to outcome and impact. The lines, the thicker line reflects where there's a strong evidence base. So training and mentoring for heads, there's a strong evidence base that this will enhance professional standards. This will then result in better teaching, better quality of education, especially for girls, and better learning. So it follows through a theory: strong evidence, medium and limited. And I'd like you just to look through this in your own time as to how this works. The theory of change, it's very similar, as you can see, to the log frame, but the difference is that it's using evidence and the strength of evidence to enhance the arguments and your logic. The difference between the log frame and the theory of change, and one of the issues is the theory of change is a relatively recent donor demand. And in this slideshow, we're just giving you a little bit about it to help you think through your logic, the log frame. Some people see it as a donor hoop rather than really adding value to the process. However, it is conceptually broader than the log frame, as you can see from that example, because it examines the issues in more depth. It looks at research and evidence and tries to explain a little further the rationale for what you're trying to do. The theory of change captures complex situations better, but I think you need to think about it as more a framework than a tool, whereas we argue that the log frame is a tool. And the two can be used together. So in this context, we are introducing the basic principles of the theory of change, and we want you to use it to build on and strengthen the logic and coherence of your log frame by asking the following questions. Will the outputs result in change? What evidence is there for the proposed changes, and how strong is that evidence? What factors will ensure change takes place? And you're using this to just strengthen and assess the logic and coherence of your log frame. It's another way of just checking whether the logic of your logical framework will deliver your project outputs and outcomes.